In today's second reading from St. Paul to the Romans, Paul begins by commenting on the sufferings of the present time. While he is referring specifically to his own time and the persecutions and struggles of the relatively new Christian community, specifically in Rome, we can also apply what Paul is saying to our own present times. People from every generation have experienced unique types of suffering in their own time. The greatest generation dealt with the Great Depression. The baby boomers have memories of the Vietnam War. My generation remembers the horrifying events surrounding September 11th, 2001. It is obvious that the experience of suffering is something that has always been with us, always, throughout the entire course of history. The saint that we celebrate today, and one of the special patrons of our chapel, St. Kateri Tekakwitha, also experienced various sufferings throughout the course of her life. She contracted smallpox as a 4-year-old child, which scarred her skin. The scars were a source of deep humiliation in her youth. She was commonly seen wearing a blanket to hide her face. And even worse, her entire family died during the outbreak. She was all alone. St. Kateri was also a very devout person, a devout Catholic who was known for her steadfast devotion. She was also very sickly throughout most of her adult life. Her practices of self-mortification and self-denial may not have helped her health. And sadly, just 5 years after her conversion to Catholicism, she became ill and she passed away at the young age of 24. St. Paul says that no matter what kind of sufferings in which we endure, no amount of suffering can compare with the glory that will come to us at the end of our lives here on earth. In other words, the sufferings in which we encounter over the course of our brief earthly existence will eventually turn into a new glorious life, a life without suffering, fear, pain, or sadness. Death for the Christian will be an event that will ultimately set us free. At the end of time, there will be no more death, no more suffering, and the world will be restored back to its original goodness. I hope that this reality gives us the grace and the strength that we need to get through difficult, challenging, and testing times. One day, all of our sufferings will indeed come to an end, and like the pain that comes from giving birth to a child, it will produce something wonderful. It will produce the gift of eternal life. Let this promise sustain us. Let this promise from Christ help us and strengthen us when we feel overwhelmed with the present day sufferings.